Hi, I'm Sophie, and welcome to my world. Easter is one of my favorite times because we do this really big party for a whole bunch of kids. And what that means is hundreds upon hundreds of Easter eggs ready to die. Now, I think that it's the greatest craft in the world for kids to do at Easter time. And so for me, making the Easter eggs ahead of time is not that big of a burden. However, making hundreds of Easter eggs can take a lot of time. And so I've come up with a quick way that you can make lots and lots of eggs in a relatively short amount of time and have all the eggs always turn out perfectly. Now, what I use for my process is one of these pasta boilers. And what it is it's actually a double unit here that has holes in it. And what I do is I place my eggs in the basket part. So first thing I do, I take my pot, and this is 8 quarts. I fill it 2/3 of the way with water. Then I set it on my heat and I let it boil. I let it come to a full boil. Then I take my eggs, place them in the basket, and put them into the water, into the boiling water, and set my timer for 20 minutes. After the 20 minutes is done, all I do is take out my eggs in their basket, let that water drain. I put it onto a towel just to get it so there's no water, and then I place it into a cold bath. And this is just a bucket that has cold water in it. And what this does is this stops the eggs from cooking any longer. Now, what I normally do at this point is cover this water back up and let it come back to a boil. Because when you take the eggs out, sometimes the water stops boiling. So get that boiling again. And now, in the meantime, I'm just going to soak this up and down just a little bit. It's kind of like giving my eggs one of those cold plunges. Then I'm just going to take them out one by one and place them on a towel. Now, one tip that I did learn is if you're doing lots and lots of eggs, they usually come in these boxes that have these pallets. Hold on to all of these because they make a great way for you to keep track of which ones are cooked and which ones are not cooked. And I'm going to show you in a second how to do that. Okay, now I've got all my eggs. Now, another thing that I learned is normally one in every batch of eggs will do what I call the egg explosion. And here you can see this one did the egg explosion. It gets that kind of lumpity-bumpity thing, which is pretty funny. Now, if you get lots and lots of those, you may find that your water gets funky. When your water starts to look a little bit funky, start the whole process all over again from the beginning, meaning dump out your water once you're done with this process here. Dump out the water, fill it again to 2/3, and let it cook. Okay, so I'm going to let these guys go. I'm going to cover them up. And while I do that, I'm going to pull out my basket. Each time you do this, you want to make sure you have fresh, cold water. Now, I take my eggs, and I'm going to place them into the basket. And I'll show you how I'm doing this. Basically what I'm doing is lining these little eggs up like a rodeo. They're kind of following each other around. I'm not sure if you can see that or not, but can you see that? And you want to get all the eggs into your basket. And one of the things I learned about eggs is that they're actually a little bit hardier than we think they are. So you don't have to feel like, oh my goodness, I have to be on tenterhooks with my eggs. They can touch each other. It's okay. So there you go. You can see in there, there's my eggies. And now all I'm going to do is lift the pot top, put it back in, and set my timer for 20 minutes. Now, when you put your eggs inside there, you should have about 1 inch of water over top of your eggs. So about 3/4 of an inch to 1 inch of water. That's all you need to be covering your eggs. It doesn't need to be up high, just about 1 inch of water over top of those eggs. Now, remember I said about the containers? These are awesome. Hold on to these. When you get your eggs cooked, what you want to do is put a little X or a smiley face or some sort of marker on this egg carton so that you will know all the eggs that are in this carton are already cooked. Now, these don't have to be dried to perfection, but I've found that by putting them on a towel, wrapping them on top of a towel, and giving it a little pat, 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 you get most of the water off. And then just place your eggs into the marked container. Now trust me, this is a great way to keep track because I'm going to put these in the refrigerator. And sometimes you've got the other eggs that you're going to cook and those are still in the refrigerator. Well, and then you're like, oh wait, which ones are the cooked ones, which ones aren't? Oh, the ones with the smiley face or the little X. Those are the ones that are cooked already. Now, another thing that I learned, and this is a good thing to keep from cracking, keep your eggs from cracking, is if you take your eggs out ahead of time, about an hour ahead of time, and let them come to room temperature. Well, they still won't be quite room temperature, but let them warm up a bit. They don't crack as readily. Although I will tell you this, you will end up, if you're making a lot of eggs like this, you're going to end up with some egg salad, which hopefully you like hard-boiled eggs. Now, one of the things too that I love about this is that the eggs we've found turn out perfectly cooked. They don't get that green, yellow yolk. They get a perfect, beautiful yolk, and they're easy to peel. So I don't know if this is the way everybody does it, but for me, this is how I have found works great for making lots and lots of eggs. And I was able to do 30 dozen eggs in a day. So that's pretty good, 30 dozen eggs in a day. So remember, you've got to have a pasta pot, and you got 8 quarts of water, fill it 2/3 the way full, let them go for 20 minutes, pull them out, put them in the cold plunge, take them in the cold plunge, and put them into a marked box, and you are set and ready to go. For more great ideas for a happy Easter, come and check us out at Sophie-World.com.